Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Hey, welcome into the Phillies Postgame show here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. My name is Marc Farzetta. Alex Schmidt's producing the show, and it's brought to you by the wonderful people at Colony Pools and Power Washing. Win and save big this baseball season with our friends from Colony Pools and Power Washing. Let the experts get rid of that ugly green algae and the mold off your roof, off your siding, and off your deck. They service Delaware, Delco, and Chester counties. Give them a call at 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250. This game was moving right along, but before they were out of there in Colorado by opening up this 3-game series in Denver, the Phillies take the game 6-3. Bryce Harper, it's great to have you back. Phillies win 4 in a row. Taijuan Walker looks like he is putting it together as a Phillies starting pitcher, which is nice to see. Alec Boehm hits his first home run in 31 days. We were just semi-joking about it 2 days ago, saying that it's almost the 1-month anniversary of Alec Boehm's last home run. So he went yard in this game, which was great. 343 feet to left center field. Kyle Schwarber got another home run in this one. That was great to see. I think he's enjoying the 5-hole in this lineup. Gee, I mean, who would have thought? Everyone on this postgame show, I'll tell you that much. And also seeing the job that Trey Turner was able to do there at shortstop was fantastic. And Craig Kimball, congratulations. Just 2 saves away from 400 in his career. Let's break it all down, but let's just start it with this. Baseball is flying by this year. I mean, it's not just, it's already May 12th, okay? It's flying by this year. But then in the more literal sense, in terms of the baseball games flying by at a record pace, this game, by today's standard especially, was flying by. You were going into the 6th inning, and the game was barely an hour old yet. You got through the first 3 innings, both pitchers, they didn't even throw 30 pitches yet. Nobody was going deep into this game, and what do you call it? The Rockies pitcher tonight, Gomber. That's how you say his name. Gomber had a perfect game going for himself up until JT Realmuto got thrown out at third base in the 5th inning. Unfortunately, JT ended up getting hurt on that play. He stayed in the game to catch and then had to leave the game. Garrett Stubbs came in to pinch hit for him. It's a strained right pinky. So hopefully he doesn't have to miss a lot of time. Stubbs came right in and hit a double off the wall. Great to see for Garrett Stubbs, all right? But Jason Realmuto had to leave the game shortly thereafter, but it was the first hit for the Phillies, and it came in the 5th inning. Point is, this game was cruising along. Taijuan Walker was cruising. Austin Gomber was cruising along. And unfortunately for the Phillies, they're the ones that went down 1-0. They were the first ones to break, and it happened in that 6th inning. Game wasn't even an hour old yet when that 6th inning started off. Edmundo Sosa ended up grounding out to the first baseman in there. The same thing with Harrison. He grounds out to the first baseman as well. Guthrie strikes out. That's how the Phillies went down 1-2-3 in the 6th inning. Then in the bottom of the 6th inning, you still have your boy Taijuan Walker on the hill. Blackman goes up there, leads off with a single to center field. Profar comes up. He hits a double to center field. Guthrie almost comes up with the catch. He's playing center field for Brandon Marsh today, who was getting the day off. He later got a pinch hit appearance later in the ballgame. But Guthrie almost catches this ball. You now have runners on 2nd and 3rd with no outs. Bryant steps up, grounds out to Trey Turner at shortstop. Turner does a great job of smothering the ball, holding the runners, gets the first out of the inning over there at first. Then this is just ridiculous, okay? This is where things get nuts, all right? You still have runners at 2nd and 3rd. Cron goes up there, hits the sac fly RBI to center field. Bohm couldn't cut it off in time. You have an opportunity to get out of the inning at that exact spot after the run scores. So the run's going to score no matter what. Bohm couldn't pick it up, field it cleanly, couldn't fire to third to get it out there. So they go one more batter in the inning. Phillies, fortunately, in this instance, go unscathed, but still a mistake by Bohm. Should have been out of the inning. Should have maybe gotten Taijuan Walker out there just a little bit earlier in the inning. Maybe he can go in the seventh. Bullpen was great, so it is what it is. But when it comes to this particular instance, you could have gotten out of the inning a little bit earlier. Diaz ends up popping out to first base to end the inning. 1-0 Rockies after the sixth inning. Seventh inning, Trey Turner strikes out. Alec Bohm steps up, hits his home run. Now it's tie ball game 1-1. Bryce Harper gets his first hit of the evening. He gets a single there to center field, I believe it is. Castellanos steps up. Now, here's an interesting play. To all the kids at home, always hustle. Because Nick Castellanos hit what should have been a double play ball. He beats out the throw. So the inning not only stays alive, but you also get you still have a runner on base in this instance. So Nick Castellanos beats out the double play ball. Harper's out at second. Next batter, Kyle Schwarber, hitting out of the 5-hole, drives a 2-run home run to center field. You get 2 runs out of it. The inning could have been over, but Castellanos busted it down the first base line. He extends the inning. He brings Kyle Schwarber to the plate. Kyle Schwarber rewards his efforts in the best way possible. 2-run home run, now a 3-1 ball game in favor of the Phils. Gomber out, Lawrence and Sosa grounds out to shortstop. Bottom of the 7th inning. Now, this is where I think things get really frustrating. Walker at this point is only at 67 pitches. McMahon comes up. He strikes out, but he reaches on the wild pitch. So Stubbs is catching now for Real Muto at this point. Couldn't smother the baseball. So unfortunately, get McMahon reaching on a classic strikeout, but he's safe at first on the wild pitch. Grichuk comes up next, hits the fielder's choice to Harrison. Now, it's a slow roller, more or less up the middle of the field, but the ball is rolling on the shortstop side of second base. That means it should be Trey Turner's ball, not Josh Harrison's ball, who's filling in for Bryson Stott, who's getting the day off. Maybe if Real Muto is still catching and he's healthy, maybe he's able to smother that ball. Maybe you have a strikeout and that's it. Nobody reaches. Okay. Maybe if Bryson Stott's playing second base, he knows to stay within himself and go to second base on that play and let Turner possibly start you off by turning too. But instead, Harrison goes after the ball. You still have time with McMahon running if Harrison played this properly. If Harrison goes to second, Turner fields that ball, flips to second, you at least get the lead runner. Again, it was a slow hit ball. But instead, Harrison cuts off Turner, goes on the opposite side of second base, the shortstop side of second base, not the fundamentally sound play, cuts the ball off before it gets to Turner. Josh Harrison smothers it, but he's got no play. But he decides, what the hell, let's fire to first anyway. He overthrows first base. It clanks off the wall. Next thing you know, you're in a situation where you got runners on second and third, and you got nobody out. To all the kids at home, hustle like Castellanos. Don't make fielding decisions like Josh Harrison. Just going to say that. All right? Just going to say that. All right? So the inning goes on. Runners at first and third. Nobody out. Walker then is taken out. Strom comes in. Out of the bullpen. Great to see him come out of the bullpen. He gets Trejo right away to strike out. Then Tavar gets the RBI single to right field. Blackman then comes up there and gets the sacrifice fly RBI. Then Blackman also is out at second base. Or not Blackman is at first base, but Tavar is out at second base trying to take advantage of a play there. It didn't end up working out, unfortunately. The Rockies challenged. It was the call on the field stood. But now you're tied up at 3. Thanks to that Tovar RBI single and Blackman's sacrifice fly RBI, you're knotted up at 3. Enter Bryce Harper. Harrison grounds out to third to lead off the bottom of the top of the 8th inning. Marsh strikes out in his pinch hit appearance. Trey Turner, 11-game hitting streak. How about that? Still batting .261 on the season, but an 11-game hitting streak. Trey Turner goes up there. He gets the double. Next thing you know, Alec Bohm works a walk. Bryce Harper steps to the plate, ladies and gentlemen. 2-run double off the right field wall. Phillies are up 5-3. Harper's on second base with Castellanos at the plate. Harper says, we want to get nuts. Let's get nuts. Harper steals third, overthrow by Diaz. Harper scores 6-3. That was your final. Kimbrel comes in, of course, to close out the ball game. His 398th save, I believe it is. Just a couple of saves short of 400 in his career. And Kimbrel, by the way, holy pots and pans. Consistently hitting 97 miles per hour with the fastball. The velocity is back there. Knuckle curve looks like he is dropping that in there with great accuracy, and he is setting up that fastball really well, and also catching guys off balance with that knuckle curve. Just a dominant performance there in that ninth inning by Kimbrel. He did allow the infield single there by Diaz to lead things off. Harrison couldn't come up with it. Another ball he smothered but couldn't make a play on. Credit to him for not trying to make a throw when he gathered, which was late anyway. But he strikes out McMahon, strikes out Grichuk, and then he strikes out Moustakas. He got McMahon on a 97-mile-per-hour rising fastball. He got Grichuk on the knuckle curve, and then he got Moustakas to strike out on a fastball as well. 96 miles per hour that was clocked at. You got to be feeling good. Now that's perfect. That's 3 straight perfect innings for Craig Kimbrel. 3 straight innings that he's pitched perfect baseball, no walks. It has been fantastic. He did, unfortunately, give up the infield single. That's right, so it's not perfect, but 1 hit in his last 3 innings pitched for the Phillies coming out of the bullpen. That's now, again, a guy you could rely on. Dominguez has come back into that guy, and it seems like every single game we've talked about this 4-game winning streak so far, modest, brief 4-game winning streak for the Phillies. We've been talking about how everyone's really had a big piece of this pie, whether it's the bullpen, whether it's Bryce Harper, whether it's a guy like Bryson Stott, whether it's Nick Castellanos, Kyle Schwarber, Alec Boehm hitting again, JT Realmuto. We'll see what happens with his injury, but as I said, it's just a strain as it looks right now, a strained pinky. So hopefully it's nothing too serious. Like I said, he didn't leave the game immediately. He went up the tunnel after it happened and then put his gear back on and went out and caught another inning. So that was good for him. But this Phillies team certainly feels like they are hitting some kind of a stride. Before I even cracked open the microphone, what did I see? Michael, right in our chat check right here. Michael Heft saying, I think the Phillies have turned the corner of the season. Team has come together and said enough is enough. Time to win. Yeah, I hope that's the case. And, sometimes you need that road trip. This is a 6-game road trip. It's not some epic road trip, but it's a 6-game road trip where they're out in Colorado for 3, and then they're out in San Francisco for another 3. But we have been waiting for a moment like this, first and foremost, for Bryce Harper to come back and show that he can be 100% healthy. And while I'm on that note, as great as Bryce Harper has been since he's come back, and right now, after today's game, he has got his average up to 344 with a 417 on-base percentage. Bryce Harper's our player of the game, by the way. 2 for 4 with those 2 RBIs. Kyle Schwarber also drove in 2 with that 2-run home run. So that's great for Schwarber. It's his 9th of the season. For Boehm, it's his 4th of the season. And as far as doubles go for Bryce Harper, it was his 2nd of the year. But something really bothers me about Major League Baseball and this pitch clock, and I am all for the pitch clock, and I love the efficiency of it. I've had arguments with baseball purists over the last couple of months since they've been exposed to the pitch clock for the first time, and they say, well, you love baseball so much, but you're watching less of it. I'm like, I'm not watching less baseball. I'm watching a more efficient brand of baseball. It just doesn't take as much time to watch it. It's a difference. But there's something about it. I love it. I endorse the pitch clock. When a player is injured, regardless if he's a 2-time MVP, like Bryce Harper, or he's a utility guy who's pinch running, I don't know. Cover all ends of the spectrum here. If the guy's got an injury and he needs a piece of equipment to put on, how is that not on the umpire to just say timeout? The fact that Nick Castellanos, and credit to him, having to call timeout, I credit him for doing it. Nick Castellanos calls timeout after Bryce Harper got the single early in the ballgame. And Harper has to take the equipment off his arm, throw it away, try to put it on again, can't do it. Castellanos calls timeout, Harper gets it on. Like, we're talking about injured players here. And this isn't just about Bryce Harper. This is about any player that's got to do it. You mean to tell me the umpire can't just go, all right, hold on a second. All right, good. Like, It's just like a very simple judgment call that I think anyone in baseball would endorse. And I'm all for the efficiency and speeding up the game. And I don't even like to say speeding up the game. I like saying making the game more efficient, trimming some of the fat, cutting some of the time that is fat, okay? How a guy has to burn his time out in that scenario is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I think anybody in baseball would want that for any player in their lineup. Oh, you can help my player stay safer, or help his health risk if it means an elbow is coming off of surgery, if it means he's got to put something like the mitt on the hand that takes 2 seconds anyway. But if there's something like that, I just think there should be time allotted. And no, it's not just because it's Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper only brings it to my attention, and really Nick Castellanos brought it to my attention because he's the guy that has to call timeout. He's got to burn a timeout so that Bryce Harper can put a whatever you even call that thing, that his Android arm. I don't know. But that's just something that jumped out to me that I thought was ridiculous. So anyway, Bryce Harper being back in this lineup. They were at 500, and then they dipped when he came back. It's been a struggle. Now they've won 4 in a row. After losing 6 in a row, they've bounced back with 4 in a row. This could very well be that time where you feel like they have turned the corner. You've looked at performances from Aaron Nola, from Zach Wheeler. You've looked at guys in this rotation. You're going to be getting Ranger Suarez back for tomorrow's game. You certainly, I think, have really added to your bullpen by Matt Strahm coming back and going to the pen. So that's fantastic. This could be the moment in the season that we look back on and go, that 6-game road trip they had in the middle of May, that was right before Mother's Day. That's really when things turned around, and I hope it is. And now Phillies are in a position where they're 6 games out of first place, but they're in lone possession of second place in the NL East, and quite possibly your way too early standings check. But then in the wild card, they're only a half game out of a wild card spot right now. Again, and possibly your way too early way to look at it. So it is great to see Bryce Harper out there. He has exceeded my expectations for not just coming back as fast as he came back, but as fast as he came back to an MVP level of play. So that's a great thing to see. Like I said, this game was moving right along, and I have an interesting little stat. I didn't know this, but I'll get to it a little bit later. I actually tweeted it out, but I'll get to it in a second. Guthrie really showed me something in center field. He at least got to that ball. He's no Brandon Marsh. I'm not saying he is. I think Marsh absolutely, especially in Coors Field, is getting to some of those baseballs that Guthrie couldn't. But the arm is an issue, definitely an issue. A bunch of bounces on both throws home, unfortunately. And then that one play that I give him a lot of credit for at least getting to the spot. He ended up overrunning it, or really you could say overextending on the first run of the ball game where the hand was out there and it just hit off the heel of his glove, unfortunately. But I thought it was interesting on a day like today. You had both Guthrie out there in center, and then you also had Harrison at second base. Thought that was a interesting move by Rob Thompson to take 2 of your regular guys out there. And then, unfortunately, you also had to end up taking JT Realmuto out, so then Stubbs was in the lineup. He got you the double, as I mentioned, which is great. But I thought it was an interesting thing from Rob Thompson today. I didn't mind Turner being back at the top of the order with Stott being out. I know some people that would rub him the wrong way. I like that Bohm got the opportunity in the 2-hole today. That was great. Harper, obviously fine. Castellanos, Schwarber, yada, yada. All that's great. But I just thought it was an interesting thing that you went with resting 2 of your starters after a day off against a pitcher in Gomer that had been struggling. Thought that was an interesting move there by Rob Thompson. But nonetheless, that's what it ended up doing in today's ball game. Now, I did not know this. Maybe you knew this. I did not know this. As this game was moving right along, you got out of the 3rd inning. I think Gomer was at 26 pitches. Walker was at 27 pitches. I'm like, damn, this game it's like 20 minutes old. To hurry through the 3rd inning. And then the game at barely the 40-minute mark, you were in the 6th inning. And then things started to hit the fan a little bit in the 7th and 8th inning, so things started to slow down a little bit. But it got me thinking. I don't know. And in this pitch clock era, we should know how long the fastest 9-inning MLB game took, should we not? Well, did you know that your Philadelphia Phillies took part in the fastest 9-inning Major League Baseball game in history. The Philadelphia Phillies and the New York Giants, yes, the New York Baseball Giants, played a 51-minute, 9-inning baseball game in September of 1919. Oh, you heard me. A 51-minute game. I did not know the Phillies played in the shortest 9-inning MLB game in history. I did not know that. They did lose. They did lose 6-1 to the Giants, unfortunately. What's the guy's name? Lee Matthews? Was that his name? Was that the gentleman's name? I'll have to double check it, but one name that did jump out to me was High Pockets Kelly. Had 3 hits in the game. So there you go. High Pocket. I was going back and forth with somebody on Twitter about it because these are the things I talk about. Tony D actually brought it up to me on Twitter. Tony D brought it up. So he sent me the baseball reference box score, which was pretty cool. But old High Pockets Kelly hit 11 home runs in 1920, and then he hit 23 home runs in 1921. I don't want to smear the man's name, but steroids. I'm just going to 1921. Maybe discovered steroids. Maybe we're focused on these other guys a little too much. But in all seriousness, I did not know the Phillies were a part of that game. That is pretty interesting. They lost 6-1, as I mentioned. Giants, they played at the Polo Grounds. How about that? Pretty wild stuff. Lee Meadows was the gentleman's name. He went complete. He pitched a complete game for the Phillies, 6 earned runs, and no, I don't see a pitch count, unfortunately. Oh, he was 12-20 that year. Jesse Barnes for the New York Giants was 25-9. Come on, guys. Pick it up. Pick it up a little bit. Phillies will be back at it tomorrow. Actually, before I even get to tomorrow's stuff, let me get to the chat check and see how you guys are doing right now. Michael Hefter already said, what's up to you? Nice to see you. John Marinelli, what's going on? Just win, baby. That's right. Just start cranking out the wins, boys. Zach Hine. Hello, Mark. Almost shut off the game after the first 5.5 innings. 5-6 innings. It was dreadfully boring. Kills me when nobody wants to work a count. Don't like sitting Marsh and Stott after a day off. Great stuff from Walker. I agree, Zach. 1,000% I agree. Sean Gillespie, what's up, brother? Beat the Rockies. Keep it going, Phils. Let's keep in mind, and I said this 2 days ago after their homestand. The Rockies have played really good baseball since losing 3 of 4 to the Phillies in the 4-game homestand the Phillies, or a 4-game series the Phillies had against them a couple of weeks ago. Rockies been on a little bit of a tear there. They swept the Brewers. They won the majority of their series. I forget the only series they lost. They took 2 or 3 from the Mets. They had been on a nice little run. Had the Colorado Rockies. So for the Phillies to jump out, take game 1 is great. Very excited about that. Nice to see. Zay Brown. Zam to you, Zay Brown. Sean Gillespie, injured players aren't given any leeway. That's crazy. It's going to aggravate minor injuries into major ones. I concur. Fannel? FF Annel? Gonna be careful with that one. Nice to catch your show, Mark. Oh, thanks, man. Nice to see you. Sean Gillespie, High Pockets Kelly, the good old. It is fun to go down Baseball Reference and just start looking at the old nicknames. Oh God, the Phillies had a guy. It was something like Squeaky O'Houlihan or something like that. It was like something out of Dodgeball. It was just hilarious. It's not coming to me, but it was something like that. It was like Squeaky O'Houlihan or something ridiculous. Squeaky McGee. I don't know. But anyway, Ranger Suarez will make his 2023 debut tomorrow night. A little bit of an earlier start time. 8:10 start time for the Phillies. He'll go against Ryan Feltner. Suarez, as I mentioned, making his debut. I was so pleasantly surprised by Ranger Suarez last year. I did not have a lot of confidence in him. Third starter, fourth starter, whatever he was going to be. I was like, all right, back end of the rotation. All right, fine. And then when you really look at his splits from last year and what he was able to do as that season went on, he had a mediocre April and May, just a couple of starts in those months. But then in June, 3.77 ERA starts to go down. Had 3 starts in July last year, posted a 0 ERA and 16 innings pitched, not too shabby. And then in August, a 283 earned run average in 5 starts for the Phillies. And then in September, how about this? 5 starts for Ranger Suarez, again, keeping a very respectable 3.14 ERA. So this was a guy that whatever you could get out of him was going to be gravy. And he ended up being a very solid number 3 starter in this rotation behind Wheeler and Nola. So I look forward to him coming back. I believe they said on the broadcast what they're expecting, or what Rob Thompson is expecting of Suarez, the lefty, on the bump tomorrow. What they're expecting from him is about 75 pitches, about 4 or 5 innings of work at least. Depends on the up downs of the pitch count and all that stuff. But hopefully he is coming back and coming back seamlessly for the Phillies, because they could certainly use the help in the rotation, which would be great to see him be able to go out there and do that. As for Ryan Feltner, 2-2 on the season with a 5.08 ERA. Looking at his last couple of starts, he's allowed 6 runs over his last 2 starts. He went 5 1/3 against Milwaukee, allowing 2 runs. Then he went 3 1/3 in a short outing against the Mets. He allowed 4 runs on 4 hits in that, while walking 6. So what does that tell you? That tells you that perhaps today's approach against the Colorado Rockies, hopefully this means that they'll have a little bit of a better approach against Colorado Rockies when they take on Feltner, who is coming off a 6-walk performance. Maybe have a little bit of patience against him. Okay? Maybe let him throw some pitches. Hopefully Bryson Stott's back at the top of the order and all be right with the world. Hopefully Trey Turner, 11-game hitting streak, and his batting average has dropped. His batting average has still dropped 2 points. 11 games ago, the day before his streak started, he was batting 263. He's now batting 261. That's just weird. You shouldn't have an 11-game hitting streak and your batting average goes down. And his on-base percentage has gone down a point. How does that happen? I know it's not that crazy, but it just sounds weird, especially when you're talking about Trey Turner here. Did you hear on the broadcast tonight? I think it was Tom McCarthy. I can't remember if it was Tom McCarthy or Ruben Amaro Jr. They were talking about Trey Turner and how his approach to swinging his way out of this season-long slump is to keep on swinging. I've never heard of that. I'm not swinging well, so I'm going to keep on swinging. Like, I make an analogy to basketball. They always say, like, the great shooters always believe the next one's going in. Like, in baseball, wouldn't you want to be a little bit more selective? Like, wouldn't you want to work a count? Maybe the pitcher makes a mistake and you could drive that? I don't know. I was one of those kids growing up that was like, well, I'm not really good at baseball. I'm not good at hitting, but I'm a really good fielder. So, like, I have no room to talk about it personally. But, like, just from talking to big leaguers and talking to pros and coaches and those guys, interviewing Charlie Manuel a number of times, like, for me, that was such a name drop. I'm sorry. But, like, for me, it just seems like the better idea for a hitter who's struggling is to be more aggressive. Get your swings in during batting practice, because that's practice and stuff. But then during a game, maybe be a little bit more selective. Look, if a pitcher, and I always say this, if a pitcher is known for a first pitch fastball, or that's how he's pitched you in the past, if that's what the scouting report is, or maybe the pitcher just walks somebody, like let's say tomorrow's lineup, you have Bryson Stott at the top of the order, you got Turner back at this, batting second. Maybe the pitcher just walks Bryson Stott on 4 pitches. And maybe you think he's going to come at you with a fastball, and you're just going to jump on that fastball because he's trying to get right. Maybe Feltner's trying to get right in this hypothetical I'm throwing out there, right? This fantasy. And then maybe you jump on a fastball. That I get. Maybe you think the pitch is coming, you don't jump on it. That I understand. But just saying the mentality or the idea is to just keep on swinging your way out of the slump, that sounds like pressing to me. That sounds like trying to force a situation that isn't there. That doesn't sound like a good approach. I really like Kevin Long. I really like Trey Turner. That just doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it makes sense to you. Maybe I'm alone on an island and everyone's like, no, that's how you do it. Like that doesn't sound like it's a good idea to me. Appreciate everybody in the chat. You guys are great as per usual. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Alex Smith produced the program, did a wonderful job as per usual. The Phillies Postgame show here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel is brought to you by Colony Pools and Power Washing. Bring your backyard back to life for the summer of 2023. Bring your whole home back to life for the summer of 2023. Give our sponsor a call for the entire baseball season. That's Colony Pools and Power Washing, 302-762-2250. That's 302-762-2250. If you're tired of seeing that green algae stain on your roof, if you live in Delco, Chester, or in the state of Delaware, let Colony pressure wash your house and take the pressure off you. Once again, Alex Smith produced the program. Thanks, everybody. Be back with you guys tomorrow night for the Phillies Postgame show here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. See ya.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
And the big story on Action News.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction. Go with trust.
Go Birds!
And go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
This is Governor Ed Rendell urging you to vote for my friend Judge Pat Dugan for Superior Court. I appointed Judge Dugan in 2007 to the Philadelphia Municipal Court, where he now serves as its president judge. Pat is a proud Army veteran of 23 years. He served 2 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. He's also recommended by the Philadelphia Bar Association. But most importantly, he bleeds Eagles green and hates those Dallas Cowboys. So get out and vote for number 3, Judge Pat Dugan for Superior Court.
Paid for by Dugan 2023.
EAGLES, Eagles.